It must be Friday because immediately 2 seconds left in the countdown and my phone starts going because I forgot to silence it. That's amazing. Hi, good morning. How are you? Welcome to the Coffee Table Talks.
Thanks for the warning. I forgot.
Good job. I need to do a bit of a recording like at the movie theater whenever you sit down. That's like, please silence all your devices and enjoy the show.
Well, then halfway through, you have to throw in, let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Only if they're serving coffee, man. I can't if they're not. It's a constant need. Although I am being a bit of a grifter this morning in my scam artistry because this is water. I had me and coffee weren't friends today, and so water it is. Aren't you so proud? Everybody that always yells at me that I need to drink less coffee and more water.
We're in the desert. When I drink water, I drink water.
I go outside in Louisiana and unintentionally inhale water all the time. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here.
We've already got a few of our regulars chiming in. Good morning, Matt Lee. By the way, if you don't know Matt Lee, go follow Matt Lee. He's awesome. He also has a show. He's very cool people. Good guy. John Gates, good morning. Rob Fox, it's Friday somewhere. Here. It's Friday here, Rob. That's not like 5 o'clock somewhere. That's not at all how that works. Jake Robinson, hello. Thanks for letting me say hi at Gurkon. Oh, thanks. Well, if you're not a regular and you're new here, hi, my name is Rachel Arnold. I'm the Human API with SecureNation. To my upper right. No? Yes. Right? Yes. Is Will McCullen, the program manager at the IT Center for Excellence at PIMA Community College in Tucson, Arizona. And our guest today is Dominic Vogel. Hi, Dominic. How are you?
Hi.
You prefer Dom?
I get called a lot of things. Whatever you want, doesn't matter.
I like it. We're going to go with Dom because that's what you typed.
Yeah.
I didn't control that. You did that. That's your name tag right there that you gave. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Just one?
I have several. My first one, though, is how happy can a pineapple possibly be? That is the happiest pineapple.
My son got this on one of his, I think, for his second or third birthday from someone, and he thought it was kind of creepy. I thought, that looks kind of cool. I'll put that in the background for when I'm on podcast. So he's Mr. Cool Pineapple.
I like it. He's a very cool pineapple. Oh, and the blue shell. You have a blue shell.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's also my son's, but he didn't like it. So it stays with me.
Does he know the murder and torture that blue shell can create to anyone in first place?
Oh yeah. No, he loves playing Mario Kart. He just didn't like the shell. It was too big for his room, he said. So I get to keep it. Plus we play Mario Kart here.
I don't know about anybody else, but whenever the toy ad, because when I was a kid, it was Toys R Us, right? Toys R Us had their big toy catalog that they would send out around this time of year, right around Thanksgiving. And you go and you mark up all the stuff you wanted to ask Santa for, right? Yeah. Now it's Amazon because Amazon rules the world.
I also have a rubber pig.
Oh my gosh.
I call him Cyber Pig.
Cyber Pig does whatever a Cyber Pig does.
Yeah, well, you realize you're going to have to go over to Hack 5 and get the pineapple. Pineapple to hold in.
Yeah, that would be great. So we got the Amazon toy catalog, and y'all, I am not even embarrassed to say that my husband and I hid that from our kids for like 3 days, passing it between each other. Like one of the greatest joys of becoming or deciding to be a parent is, especially if you feel some kind of way about buying toys that are actually for you, is that you can 100% blame it on. Well, they just weren't that interested in it, so I took it. But it's always great.
Okay, on the geek side, right?
Yeah.
So this will just show you how weird I am. My father was a professor of physics. So when it came around Christmas time, there was this really cool catalog. I bet you some of our listeners will remember Edmund Scientific that had all sorts of really cool stuff that you could.
What is that? Edmund Scientific?
Yeah. It's not what it used to be, but man, it had all sorts of really cool electronic oddball stuff. Anyhow, never mind. I'm way off.
Will, I just found like photos of a storefront that looks like it came from the 80s.
Yeah, well.
Edmund Scientific.
Yeah,
There's-
it was kind of like the Radio Shack.
Before
Ultra.
Radio Shack? Wow, you are Edmund Scientific years old today. I was today years old when I learned about Edmund Scientific. This is cool though. What happened to this store? It needs to come back. They've got some cool stuff. You guys Google Edmund Scientific. There
you go, Keith. Keith's on track.
They had polyhedron dice sets before anybody else knew it was cool. Just saying. Like I just saw the polyhedron dice deck. For anybody that doesn't know what a polyhedron is, it's D&D dice. That's what that is. That is fantastic. Wow. Very cool. Now I'm sad. See, Amazon did take over the world.
Well,
not that great.
And there was also Byte Magazine, for all those that remember Byte Magazine.
Hang on, I gotta Google that too. There's so much stuff I have to Google when I'm sitting.
Hey, Philip Wiley. Hey, how you doing, dude? Okay,
Byte
so anyhow.
Magazine. Oh, you guys, I had the best time.
We're getting really squirrely here.
We are, but don't worry, it's gonna come around. It's coming around. I had the best time with Phil earlier this week. So we're gonna be doing some leveling up of Les Show. Okay. And it's because Philip Wiley gave me some of the best, like just it was like I've never had a session where I sat down with someone specific to podcasting or live streaming where it was like a mentoring kind of thing. But that's exactly what happened. And Phil was amazing. He put up with all of my like, wait, click that button. Wait, no, to click that one. What's that button do? Like so much stuff. It was great. And I wanted, and the reason I mentioned that, one, Phil said hi, so it happens, right? ADHD, squirrely brain. But number two is because John, what are you linking? Is this gonna lead us? Oh, it's Cyberpig. No, that's fine. That can stay. Meg's poking me on the side, going, "Is that okay? That's okay. That's okay." I love Meg. She's so good at this. If you guys don't know, Meg Jet, I almost said your maiden name. Meg Jet is in the background doing our moderating and commenting and stuff like that. She'll pull up your questions if you have any throughout our time here today. So the reason I mentioned the podcasty live streaming mentoring thing that we did with Phil earlier this week is I wanted to ask Dom about what it is that you do. Is it similar to that? Is it like a mentoring for executives or how? So what is the name of the company that you run? You are the company, right?
Yes, it is me.
It is you. Which one, go follow Dominic on LinkedIn. He is phenomenal. And every time Meg and I got an email from Dom, he was so like just charismatically energetic and nice. Me and Meg were talking about you to the side. We were like, this is the nicest person on the internet. If you go to this one, that's Vogel Leadership, and that's your company.
Yes.
So what is Vogel Leadership about? How did we get here?
So I mean, for me, I've realized I'm a solopreneur now. It's just me and the rubber pig and the pineapple, and I realized that the two things that give me the most professional joy are cyber leadership, right? So that is the piece where market calls it VC. So, but I still like doing that. I love doing that, working with, and it was, for me, it's about helping organizations that have never looked at cybersecurity. So like construction, manufacturing, there's no shortage of companies that have never looked at it, and building out programs from the ground up. So that's one piece of it. The coaching side of it is where I like working with organizations that have an IT team or a security team, and there is what I'll call a human problem, and I don't mean like security awareness. I mean that the leader of maybe the team isn't a leader. Maybe they've never been taught how to be a leader, how to inspire the team, or how to provide mental triage to a overburdened team, or maybe it's about coming into an organization where IT has a brand issue, right? Because the help desk team or service desk team has never really been afforded the opportunity in terms of being taught how you communicate to non-technical people in a kind and empathetic way, right? So that's where the coaching comes in. I love working with organizations and bridging what I call bridging humanity and technology.
Yeah, I like it too. It's one of the things I'm very passionate about, which I think is why you and I get on so well.
Yes. Yeah.
But I kept saying this thing a couple of years ago that was like, get off of InfoSec Island, which is whenever you walk into conferences or situations where the IT or cybersecurity department is kind of like running the meeting, right?
Yeah.
They tend to do this shorthand speak. One, I think they're nervous. I think they're nervous most of the time. I think they're nervous about somebody else wanting to hear their point of view. So they do this overarching thing where they just start speaking in jargon. And it's that thing that people do whenever they feel inferior to the people around them, that they try to be smarter. I mean, and they are smarter about IT and cybersecurity, but they like overexpress it to the point that they push other people away. And you're like, don't do that. Make friends.
And part of the problem too, though, is that in IT, and I'll just say as broadly as technology professionals, we tend to underestimate or undervalue the training of how you become a better human, right? People call them soft skills, people skills, whatever you want to call them, right? And whenever I walk into an organization, I ask to see the training plans, if they exist, for an IT team. And there's all these, here's the tech certs, and here's all this and all that. It's all technical stuff, which again, I get it's a technical profession that should be there. But when I always ask the question, how are you helping your team be better communicators? How are you helping them connect with non-technical people? I get met with blank stares, and they're like, no one's ever asked us that before, right? Like it's something that as a whole, our collective industry or technology professionals, we just, like I said, we underemphasize the importance of that. But that's why I think when you bridge technology and humanity, that's where the magic happens. It's, the world isn't going to get better with more technology. It's going to get better with more humanity infused into our technology.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the things that Rachel brought up, right? What is it about this industry that we all feel that we need to hold, everybody feels that they need to hold their tail higher than everybody else.
Right.
And I think a large part of that probably comes in the areas of leadership, to where there isn't enough of a feeling of of safety, enough of a feeling of being able to not know, or being allowed to not have to be the best of the best of the best of the best, right? How much when you come, because it sounds like you're hitting a whole organization. So do you start with some of those elements in leadership of saying, hey, folks, let's humanize everything?
Yeah. And it's really, again, is my point too. When I go into these organizations, and again, I can often quickly tell. I just had a call yesterday with the CIO, and I told him about the coaching and how I believe in that's how you get the best out of your people. He said, "Well, I'd rather use that money and buy another tool." I was like, "That's the problem. That's why even after all these years, we still suck at patch management, right? It's that type of pervasive mindset." Right? Technology isn't going to solve everything, and I think part of that is that mindset, right? And I know we were talking about culture before we went on live here, but like the whole notion, I think, again, of understanding that when we're talking about talent too in the field, right? One of the things that absolutely drives me nuts is when I hear people say, "Oh, we have a talent shortage," right? There are not enough people to hire. I say, well, you know what? There is a shortage, but it's not at the base of the pyramid. Where there's a shortage, we have a shortage of leaders, right? When you think about, there are great leaders in the field, don't get me wrong, but collectively, when you think of, a CIO or a CISO or CTO, the majority of them were not taught how to be a leader. They were often elevated into that position because they were the longest tenured, they were the most technical, for multiple reasons, but very rarely is it because they're the best leader, right? There's very few people, and I've been doing this, 20 years, and I can count on pretty much one hand how many IT/security leaders that I've come across in my past that are, these are true leaders. These are leaders of people, right? People that can inspire the team, get the best out of their team, right? That's where we're falling tremendously short, right? And that's where there's a shortage. And again, that comes down to the fact that we have not developed leaders in our field. When we think about leaders in our field, it's all these people are leaders in technical thought or where security strategy goes. And again, those are leadership elements, don't get me wrong, but we're lacking in human leaders of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think people think to be, okay, I've worked with lots of different versions of leadership. Not all of them awesome. I am blessed though in a way that I have some fabulous mentors that are I have met their team. They've actually introduced me to members of their teams, and those people are very open and honest about pros and cons around that leadership style. One of my ultimate failings I see in a leader that is struggling, we're going to call it struggling. Insert nasty things to say, but struggling, right? That's the corporate speak. You seem to be struggling. Is that they tend to, they get this idea that they're the end all be all for direction generation, right? Where are we going? Where are we headed? Right? That's how they consider themselves a leader. This is my idea, and you all are going to support it. Now, where I have seen my favorite, not so much struggling leaders are the ones that do like a regular cadence. They really get to know the members of their team, not just what they're capable of, but also what kind of things in their, if their team want to share, what kind of things in their personal life they struggle with. Y'all, I keep my background open all the time because y'all can see I have kids. Right? I have dogs. I have a family life. I have things going on. There's a stuffed animal on my floor right here. See that? Right? Today my hair's a mess because it's Friday. I'm a human. I'm a real live human. I'm not perfect every day. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you get these ones in there that are just, but you need to know that about your team. You need to know, are they gonna, do they need to have a more flexible work schedule because they have other people in their life that depend on them, whether they be tiny or whether they be their parent. I've met so many people that are in my age group right now that are including myself, that are in between elder care and child care. Right. And it's a struggle a lot of time, but you want to know what's great about people like that? They are efficient. Okay. They will get shit done so fast. Because they have this much time, right? Time is a pie. You can't make more pie. You can just slide the pie slices around. And when a leader takes all of that into consideration, along with what their skill sets are, what they're capable of producing, then looks at the business as a whole and sees what might be needed, then goes back to their team and says, hey, I noticed this. Did you also notice this? Maybe we can ask other departments. Did they also notice this, right? Then you're solving a problem that may be very important to the business with the right skill set and lead. And this isn't your idea necessarily for what to fix, but it can also come from your team members. You have to listen to them. You may step into a team where you've got an analyst that has been there for 10 years because they're happy as an analyst. They never want to do anything else. They're the happy little analyst, right? And they're like, hey, we've never tested if any of our tools actually do what they say they're supposed to be doing. We triage alerts, we do all this stuff, but shouldn't we maybe, I don't know, red team test them or tool validate them? right? To make sure that we're spending our money. That's a great idea. That's fantastic. Yes, let's make sure that the things we're investing in actually do what they say they're supposed to be investing in. And now you're leading with not your idea, but your team is automatically like super into it because it's a problem they've all been whispering about for years. Those are my favorite leaders. That was a really long way to say that, but those are my favorite leaders, are the ones that take the feedback from the team about things that could use improvement, and then they make that happen. You're not leading them to your own end. You are resourcing them appropriately to make the team goals happen that impact the business in a way that the business says, yes, that's a great idea. Sorry, I got on a big soapbox right there. I got really excited. I'm so excited.
Well, another one too. So I'll just do a mini soapbox. I am incredibly fortunate to have one of the best leaders I've ever come across, Jim Craig. And
we love it, Jim Craig.
Jim has an extensive business background as well as IT background.
Yeah.
And Dean, so that means herding squirrels like nobody's business. But the tack that he takes is he's an enabler, and he'll come through and he sees his element of being a leader is finding out where everybody's strengths are. And instead of trying to push people into the molds, find out where their strengths are and organize things around to where they're in their happy spots as much as possible, and then grow from there. So here, Dominic, you walk into an organization, and it sounds like you often probably hit some heavy dysfunction. And we talked about beforehand where you talk to people individually, and then you try to put this big old puzzle together. That's no small thing.
That's real big. That takes a lot of effort, man.
What are some of the large grouping thoughts that are going through your head? How do you take some of this dysfunction and misaligned puzzle pieces, and from the very top down, how do you pull that together? Because it's property of physics, right? That objects at rest tend to stay at rest. How do you pull them out of that element, that inertia, and get past that inertia to put them in?
Well, I think what you're asking is, what does your workflow look like?
It's much more than that. It's the philosophy, right? Yeah. Because it's a human thing. It doesn't fit into a normal.
It doesn't fit into a neat little box.
So how do you do that?
You know what? And that's a really good question. And the first thing I look for what I just referred to as just classical themes, right? And not classical in the altruistic sense, but classical themes that I see in every dysfunctional unit that I look at. So a lot of common themes tend to be poor communication, right? Which often leads to assumptions or misperceptions about others. Things of poor communication then stem to things like lack of trust. Stems to you end up seeing siloed efforts within an IT team. So I'll give an example of an organization that I've been doing some coaching with. And so when I first met them, I was brought in and they said, yeah, we're completely dysfunctional. I said, okay, let me just experience that for myself first of all, right? I'm glad you recognize you're dysfunctional, but let me experience that for myself. And going through the different units. So I was talking to like the help desk manager, and this was someone who there was no energy to them. Like I probably could have hooked up a car battery to them and they would have shown no signs of life. Like there was nothing, right? And so I had to spend some time there figuring out what was going on. And then I found out, okay, well, his team is completely lackluster. They're like what I refer to as the rudderless ship. The leader has no rudder, therefore the ship is just going around like this. The help desk was, again, as it is many organizations, seen as the brand of IT. How people perceive IT was through the lens of help desk. So other elements of IT did not feel good about themselves because the rest of this organization did not have a high opinion of IT. And when like I said, it was like unraveling almost like a rat's nest, or when I bring out my Christmas lights every year, right? It takes me about 2 weeks to figure out where the beginning and where the end was, and it went back to some easy spots. So the first piece was that the help desk supervisor was in a role that he was not happy with. Ultimately, it took about 2 months, but ultimately found out that he said that he didn't actually enjoy IT. It was something he fell into, and that he'd be happy doing anything. It didn't have to be IT as long as he was making that amount of money. That was a brainwave to the CIO. He's like, well, great. I'll just give him a nice severance and we'll get him out. We brought in someone internally who had shown some spark and some brilliance there, and with coaching her, now all of a sudden she had a vision. Now the team started showing some spark, right? The grays and the lackluster days suddenly became very vibrant colors, right? And now all of a sudden, the help desk team started to have a good image. People within the rest of this organization were like, yeah, the help desk has been fantastic, right? We're having great service now. That strengthened the brand of IT. Other elements of IT started being happy as well. Walls started coming down, right? And what was the focal point? The focal point, like I said, was one individual who was not happy, right? So there is no set cadence, but like I said, by having conversations, talking to people, creating what I call a safe psychological space for people to just talk. This is non-judgmental. I am here to help you. And the thing that I like about how I do coaching is that I've been in IT, I've been in security for 20 years. So whatever it is that you're feeling, if you're not feeling appreciated, you're feeling like crap, whatever, I feel what you're feeling. I'm not just a coach, right? I'm someone who's been there and I know what you're feeling. So let's talk about that openly. So like I said, there is no set playbook. To me, the set playbook is just go in, ask questions, create a safe psychological space, and let people talk.
So who is it, I guess role level or title type or whatever, approaches you and says, hey, I've got a problem here. I'm not sure what it is. Can you come help us sort it out? Like, what is that? Who is that person?
It's generally, I'll say the clients that coaching clients that I've on board, it's generally a CIO, a tech leader, or a CISO who's come into an organization where it's dysfunctional, right? So the person, CIO, CISO, CTO, what have you, IT leader, they have the cognizance to realize, yes, these people are struggling. I don't have the time to help them because they're often going to a situation where the previous leader was terrible. They're trying to do a million things at once. And it's like, we need help. I need help fixing the people problem here, right? Can you help? So it's like I said, it's generally a leader that's come into a spot where it's terrible and they need to revitalize the team.
You mentioned really quick there, and I bet there's a lot more to it that you could elaborate on or unpack. You mentioned that one individual coming in and then having a vision.
Yes.
Do you try to find, isolate, and nurture those how much does that come into play?
Oh, absolutely. It comes in to play, and so in that example, the previous help desk supervisor, like I said, he ended up leaving. He was happy with the severance, and he said, "Yeah, I'm happy. I'm gone." Right. So he ended up going, and then we went through this process of, well, who's going to lead the team? Who's going to lead the help desk here? And through my coaching sessions, I had identified someone. There was really only one person who had a level of spark, a level of, like I said, she didn't have huge technical prowess. Someone who just looks at things through a technical lens would be like, oh, she would be a terrible help desk supervisor. Shouldn't hire her. But she was the only one who was routinely working on relationships outside of IT. She was the only one who could actually speak in a way that other people who weren't in IT could appreciate and understand. She was the only person in IT that other people in the organization could actually tolerate being around for more than 2 consecutive minutes, right? So it was like, okay, there's something special here, right? Let's nurture that. So when I broached the subject of, hey, what do you think about leading the team? right? Immediately she said, "Oh, I'm not technical enough," right? And I said, "No,
Aw.
let's throw that out the window," right?
Those are the first ones I go hug. I'm like, yes, you are.
I said, you saying that, and I said, you're the only one of the few in this department that exhibits humility. And I said, but the thing is, you're selling yourself short, right? You are the only person that could actually lead this team, right? And when I told her that, she started believing in herself, right?
Your leader doesn't need to be deeply technical to be respected by the team members that are deeply technical.
Oh, and that's the thing. The team loved her. The team rallied around her, right?
Right?
And
Wow.
it's remarkable, absolutely remarkable what she has accomplished. And I've learned, Will, you were talking about before we started about sort of learning environments where you check your ego, right? I have learned so much from her in my coaching. It's been amazing, right? So, like I said, often it just comes down to recognizing that. Again, when we're talking about leaders, it's not about the technical prowess. It's not about the technical savviness or technical vision or what have you. Right? We overlook time after time after time. We overlook the people that are the best leaders. And like I said, as an industry, we've conditioned those who do work in tech, who work in security, that if they feel like they're not technically strong enough, that they shouldn't be a leader, right? And that's a damning indictment on our industry, because I think there's so many hidden talented leaders out there who believe that they're not good enough to be a leader.
So is that like the most common sort of issue you find in some of the, like some of the teams that you come in to help, is that maybe there's just the wrong leader in the first place, or is it something that you can tweak with a leader? You know what I mean? Like coach them, teach them. Like, is it which one's more common that you're like, nope, we're throwing that one out, or no, let's work on this?
Well, it starts off with the fact that it has to be, like I said, a CIO, CTO, an IT leader, security leader who believes in investing in his or her people, right? That is the necessary prerequisite, right? So once I go in there, like I said, it often comes down to the fact that people in an IT team or security team feel disconnected from their purpose, right? They feel, again, overburdened, underappreciated, right? They're not communicating with others, not communicating within the team. Again, it's I'll say typical systemic problems that you see in poorly run IT shops, right? It's not unique. You see it play out time and time and time and time again, right? And like I said, it often boils down to, like I said, for me, when I come in, my approach is I spend the first 6 weeks just listening, right? Getting people to open up, creating a safe psychological space, say that, hey, you know what, I'm not an auditor. I'm not here to get people fired. I'm here to genuinely help you feel more connected, to feel happier with what you're doing, right? Nice. Right. And again, it's about building that level of trust, building that relationship, right? And
is that something that comes organically to you, or did you like do some study or some self-education?
No, for me, it's something that, and I was telling Will in the pre-show, from as long as I can remember, my mom has suffered from various levels of mental illness, and it instilled in me a level of, I'll say, kindness, empathy, patience, and just gentle nurturing that. Like I said, I wouldn't wish mental illness on anyone, but I am grateful that I turned out the way that I did, because it gave me that tool set. And in my corporate days, that side of me was, beaten out, right? It wasn't there, right? I did not have the opportunity to nurture it, because every time I brought it out, I was thrown to the door and discarded. But when I became an entrepreneur, it allowed me to re-explore those dimensions about myself that I had sort of forgotten about during my corporate days. So yeah, it's things that I'll say have been in me, things that I continually nurture. It's a side of me that I value more than my security prowess or my technical acumen. To me, it's the part that has allowed me to succeed in business and in life, right? Far more than my security capabilities.
I also am an empath due to trauma, is why I ask. It's this place where people are like, you're so empathetic and kind and great with people. And then on the inside, I'm going, that's because it's the only way I feel safe is to be able to preempt the danger in the room.
Yeah.
But thanks.
We share that bond then.
We do. That's immediately I'm like, that's because if I'm not tuned into every little emotion you're feeling, I might be in danger.
Yes.
Right?
It evolved as a safety mechanism, right?
But think about that for a moment. Let's just, what that is really saying is that throughout our industry at this time, unfortunately, there's a major vacuum. And that vacuum is taking into account that empathy, taking into account people's sense of safety, taking into account the ability to allow people to be human instead of just bringing it down to a bottom line and metrics.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Metrics and bottom lines are important. I'm not saying
they
that,
are.
but equally so is, right? Like being able to do that, to rally a team and get them aligned on a goal. And that doesn't mean force them to align to whatever bullshit goal. It means they're actually invested in it because you did this thing called listening as a person, right?
I mean, there's a lot of fantastic material out there, like Simon Sinek, for example.
Yeah,
right? I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
Leaders eat last. Find your why, all that kind of stuff. But what's lacking is, okay, how do we actually put that into practice? We need to spend some time on that. And it sounds like you're hitting that niche really well, where you come in and say, okay, folks, now let's actually do it. Okay, let's.
Right. You know what? Simon Sinek is like a cinnamon roll. One of the other ones I really like to follow. He's warm and gooey and right. It's comforting.
Right.
The cinnamon roll. Have you guys heard that? Heard people called cinnamon rolls before?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Simon Sinek is a cinnamon roll.
Like cinnamon rolls.
Well, then good. This analogy works for you. See, I listened right there and appealed to what you could relate to. So Gary V. Vanderbilt, no, not Vanderbilt. Gary V. He's like a spicy croissant. Like for leadership stuff, he pulls in big crowds, right? That's part of his thing. But I love a lot of the things that he said, that he kind of preaches on about leadership and how to be a leader, and how he talks about, as an entrepreneur himself, he's like, I never expect anybody on my team to work as hard as me. This is mine. This is my company. They're just here because they're motivated by something else, a paycheck, prestige. They need to get out of their house 9 hours a day at least, or they're going to go crazy. Like, they're motivated by different things. And I loved that snip. Like, I'm definitely paraphrasing. He said it with way more explicit language, but just forewarning, don't put your headphones in if you're going to listen to that one in front of your kids. But I love the fact that, so Simon Sinek, right? Well, you mentioned says, get to the why, right? Well, it's like Gary V is taking that idea and being like, get to the why of why your team is here, why individually, each person, what their core why is. Not the bullshit answer they're going to give that they gave you in the interview to land the job, but like the actual why, right? Like for me, having flexibility in my schedule is priority. Has it always been that way in my life? No, it is not. The priority has been, I need to make as much money as possible, or I need excellent benefits or whatever. But right now it's the flexibility in my schedule because I have childcare and elder care in my life. I have to be able to leave or be able to work on the go, take my dad to, doctor's appointments. Or I have to, like tonight, I've got I don't know, they signed my kid up to have a mentor. I'm so excited. He's in 4th grade, and they did a program with the football players at the high school level where they get buddies and they learn about their buddies. And it's really cool. They have like these mentor, older kids that come into their classroom and work with them like once a week. Well, their
That's
buddies
cool.
invited them to the football game tonight and got some like t-shirts sponsored and made up for the kids. And my kid was so stoked. He was like, "Can I please go?" And I was like, "Wow, you've never been so excited about sports ball before." Yes, let's go. So like, and that takes time, right? And I need to be able to work remotely or be able to answer emails later. Like, just find out what and obviously, Dom, you're the expert here on this, but I feel it's very important to find out what the why is for each individual, what the driver is, the actual one, the real one.
Absolutely. And really what it comes down to again is knowing your people, right? Knowing your team, right? Knowing them, and again, knowing them as humans, not knowing them by their technical resource or their technical capabilities, right?
Mhm.
That's often when I'm talking to a leader, right? They'll refer to, oh, that person's really good at this, that person's really good at that. Well, can you tell me more about them as a person, right? And a lot of times the leader's like, well, I don't know actually anything about them as a person, right? That's not leadership, right? Yes, knowing about them from a resource perspective is important, but you're missing context, right? That's part of the picture, right? So know your people as people, right? Know, and again, even just coloring exactly what you're saying there with an example. Another coaching client of mine, the CIO was convinced that one of his senior security analysts was mentally checked out. He said, "Yeah, he must be searching for work. He's just not listening or doing anything. Productivity's way down." And the first thing I said to the CIO was, "Have you talked to him? Like, is he doing okay?" He said, "No, I haven't asked. It's just he's not doing his work." I was like, "Okay, well, I have a coaching session with him coming up. I said, I haven't really noticed anything, but let me ask how he's doing, right?" Asked how he was doing, and by then I've been coaching him for a while, and he broke down. He said, I've been going through a real tough time right now. I was going through a divorce. No one knew about that. He said, I can't concentrate, right? And so again, having conversation with him, right? And the thing I told the CIO was, you know what? He's struggling with some stuff right now. He said, I'm not going to tell you all this stuff because that's between me and him. But if you want to know, you can talk to him. But I said, he's not slacking off. He's not looking for work elsewhere. He's hurting as a person, right? And you, as a leader, right, you should be reaching out and saying, what can I do to help? What can I do to help you get through this situation? Because I know you're going to get through it, right? And once you're through it, we're going to all be here for you. And as you're going through it, we're all here for you as well. So that's what a leader does. And like I said, he got through it, right? And he stayed. He's flourishing. And the thing that he appreciated the most was that ultimately his boss said to him, "Take as much time as you need." He said, "You need to heal mentally. Take your time.
You want to create loyalty and reduce insider threat risk. That's how you do that.
That's exactly how you do it, right? And again, by treating your people as people, right? They're not assets, right? They're not things that you own, right? They're not resources, right? They're people. Right. I think the more that we start cluing into that, the better. Why wouldn't you just want to make someone's life better? Right. Like, we need more people who think that way.
How many times do you get that sense of revelation out of the leaders? Because you're hitting them with a whole different perspective, right?
Yeah. The percentage is higher once I know, like I said, that they're in it for the right reasons, right? My bang percentage is very low when I'm reaching out, to a CIO or CTO and, pitching them the whole notion of coaching, right? There's still, like I said, at least anecdotally, there's a lot of people, and I gave that example earlier, who say, I'd rather take that money and spend it on the tool, right? That's part of the reason why, like I said, we're still grappling with. Like I said, I've been in security 20 years. I remember when I first entered the industry, I remember them talking about, passwords are going to be gone by next year, right? This is how we're going to get a seat at the table. Here we are 20 years later, we're still dealing with that same shit, right? Yeah. So we're doing something wrong, right? It's not the technology. The technology is advanced, right? So it's got to be something else. Yeah. To answer your question, Will, once I'm in and they understand the importance of investing in their people, it may be a hard conversation. It may make them uncomfortable, but like I said, they more than often see the light because they see the progress, right? And the thing that I tie it to as well is, again, yeah, we can talk about making your team feel good and maybe they're more efficient and more effective. But the thing that I find really helps, I'll say from an investment perspective, is when I tie it back to the brand. I said, like, if you want your brand, right, and what CIO doesn't want to make sure that they have a great brand within their organization, I say this is going to make the brand of IT stronger, better, more durable. People are going to have a good, when they think about IT, it's not going to be like, oh, those jerks next door. It's going to be like, oh yeah, we love the IT team, right? They're amazing, right? That's where I really have, I'll say, sustained power. And I tie it back to brand.
Oh, can you guys imagine working at a company where all the other departments outside of IT and cybersecurity are like, you guys are the best.
Yeah.
When are you doing your next security awareness training? Because we want to be there. This is going to be fun, right?
Yes.
Oh my God. How exciting would that be? I'm sold.
And
that's it.
And that's my goal. That's my goal, is to try and create those types of, like I said, those IT brands.
Yeah. I love
that perspective, because that sums up and it hits right in the heart of those that are in that leadership role, that they can easily grasp. That's what I need to do. Well done.
I already use a lot of your strategies, by the way, Dom. I'm very excited that I do. And I'm learning a lot too, so that's good. But like,
that's why we're friends, right? We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, it is. It's just so okay. So I've been in leadership positions, right? I've been at a director level before, and I've also been in non-titled, vague leadership position. Whenever I lead a team to select tooling, right, that they may be looking at, that they want to replace, or they want to renegotiate a contract, or they want to consolidate tools, right? That you'll run into that a lot, especially in mergers, yes, where big company eats the little company, right? And it's this thing where sometimes the big company has the idea that, well, they'll just adopt all of our tooling automatically, right? And that's just how that's going to go, and we're going to kick all the other contracts. But some of what I do is we sit and we'll do a bake-off between them in those consolidation instances. And it's the kind of thing where I have to communicate not only with IT and cybersecurity, right, on how we're going to do this, but also I have to communicate outside of that to make sure that we're still within, one, I need to know what the acceptance of risk is from the risk team, right? I need to know how we're going to onboard. If this is something users are going to interface with on a regular basis, is this something that they're prepared to do, like training, right? So we go through HR too and get their opinion. And, depending on what it is, right, there's different teams that need to be involved. And then, of course, when it comes to consolidating contracts, like even if it's the same tooling, like I'm going to go talk to your legal department, or I'm going to get you to do it, one or the other. Somebody's got to go talk to a lawyer, okay? We are not lawyers. But like, I use a lot of the strategies that you've been talking about whenever I help. And that's one of the things that I love personally about what it is that I do as a reseller, and being on the other side of the fence too, and interfacing with resellers of other big names, which I will not name here, but other big names, you know who they are. Awesome. So I've seen the way they do things, and then I start to really understand why it is that a lot of our industry has this negative opinion, much like other industries have negative opinions of IT, why it is that within our industry, leadership has negative opinions of reselling partners or value-added resellers, right? They're like, they don't do anything, because they don't. This one does a lot. I think there are a lot of resellers out there that could also use some Dominic in their life. I'm just saying. Vogel Consulting, where did that one right there. If you are a reseller, one of the major, just check it out. I'm just saying. Dom's got a lot of great strategies in place that could help you up your reselling game, and then you're not just pushing paper and being a jerk. Just saying. Okay. I think this is beneficial. Like, even if you're not a leader, I think a lot of the point I'm making is that even if you're not a leader in a leadership position, or you don't even aspire to be a leader in a leadership position, a lot of the strategies that Dom is talking about can apply to you if you use the creative side of your brain. These things are important, right? To recognize that you are not better than the total sum of all, right? You need that. We're humans and we're good at humaning because we learned how to social. Okay? Go be social. If you suck at social, don't do that. Don't suck anymore. Make a conscious decision to stop sucking at being a human. It's okay.
Oh, you mean you have to get past the typey thingy?
Typey. I have been involved in the most amazing conversations where I introduced person A to person B, and like it was all typeys. You can typey. That's okay. But you know, I'll bet Dom's got strategies for how to. Do you? You do, don't you? I'll bet you do. How to type
even
like in a more friendly way, like not to be curt.
Absolutely. Well, even stuff like, you know, like as an example, like email, right? Email is one of the worst forms of communication, but yet we heavily rely on it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, emails, we've conditioned ourselves to basically, like when an email comes in, like I think, you know, to me, I remember I've never been able to find it, but I remember reading the some statistic that most people are actually almost categorically brain dead when they read an email. Your brain is conditioned to just not even engage with it. That's why, and I've, you know, you talked about, you know, with my emails, right? I try to inject high energy words, exclamation marks, right? And I have people who I have developed relationships just from my emails. They're like, your email made my day. It was better than, you know, I had therapy yesterday and you had more a positive impact on me than my therapist did yesterday. And I had to pay that person $150 for an hour and I just got your email for free, right? So any form of communication, I'm a huge believer, you can inject humanity into it, even the worst kinds of communication like email, right? It's just about, like I said, trying to figure out and again put yourself in the position, you know, stuff like empathy and emotional intelligence. If I was to read this email, what would it feel like? Like for me, most emails I get, I like, oh, this is so cold and impersonal. It actually makes me feel really sad reading some of this, even if the person wasn't intending to make me feel sad or, you know, struggle inside. It's written the way in which I feel angst about it. But that's why I said for me,
one of the best neurospicy tools that have been developed lately is just any AI content creation or review or
yep 100%.
You can take your whole message and then you can go ask your favorite platform, what tone is this in? Like you can do it from different angles. What tone is here? And it will tell you you're an asshole. And then, or you can say, how do I be less of a jerk? And it will rewrite it for you.
Well, one of my favorite pieces of advice that has served me well is the "you stupid idiot" rule. Have you ever heard of that? That's if anything you say or how you say it can be easily appended with "you stupid idiot" after the end of it, right? So, hey, this Rachel, could you take this USB drive? You stupid idiot, doesn't fit. Rachel, could you please take this USB drive? You stupid idiot, fits. So don't do it. Don't use it.
Oh, I was recanting all of the emails I've sent where I was saying you stupid idiot. I feel real ashamed. Oh no.
But to your point there, you know, around, you know, there are tools. Like I said, for me, I've always been a fan of wordplay, right? Like I love alliteration, I love exclamation mark. I've just always been like that. But for those who, but for those, I have a T-shirt somewhere that says that too. For those who,
I get into some really punny situations, we'll just be texting for hours on the same pun, like. It's so
that's
bad.
awesome. But for those who struggle with it, because again, it doesn't come natural. That the AI tool, there's great AI tools and things that I leave some of my coaching clients with is take your paragraph or whatever your email is, pick up your favorite AI tool and say, write this with more energy and more kindness. And then you end up with something that is, there's some warmth to it, there's some energy to it, right? And that's what emails need, right? Because they're the most cold and dishuman or unhuman things known to humankind are emails. So let's inject some humanity into them. And again, that can make things go a long way.
Yeah. It really
Yeah,
can.
what happened to courtesy? That's a valuable thing.
That disappeared years ago.
It really is. Did anybody else watch the vice presidential debate and think it was the most boring ever because they were like courteous to each other for most of it? I did. I was like, is that what debates are supposed to be like? Oh my gosh, that was the most Midwestern low-key freaking debate ever. Nobody took like any serious and then they would agree with each other all the time. And I was like, what is happening here? This is supposed to be Mortal Kombat. What?
Well, that's a major indicator there, right? Because how did we get to the point in politics to where it makes major news when somebody cooperates with the other side?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing up there?
I don't know. It's better than all of the doom and gloom stuff I usually see coming across. So I'm for it. Go ahead. If it's going to make major news that there are happy times coming, go for it. I love it. Those are my favorite headlines. Those are the best ones. You guys, did you know that we have 3 minutes left?
Wow.
That flew by.
This has been I feel time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
Well, this is such a rich topic. There's a lot to unpack. This is awesome. And
really
thank you so much, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I wanted to put the QR code up in the top corner for everything very cool and squirrely that Will and the group over at PIMA are up to as far as cybersecurity. Y'all check that out. Keep up with the students there. And if you'd like to, if you missed last week, we did live from GERCON. Talk about a squirrely show. You guys, all of my friends came over, like all of them. I have to stop being so accommodating. No, I don't. I'm never gonna. That's never gonna stop. So go that QR. The other one that I just put up. Support the center is the Coffee Table Talk campaign through ISC2 to raise funds for scholarships and certifications for people that need them in our field. Okay, how awesome is that? We get to raise money for people to get good,
change lives for the better.
Yes,
that's cool.
I love it. It's my favorite. And a lot of folks go to community college is ostensibly much more affordable than large state or private universities. That's what I love about Will and where their program lives, is it's at a community college, automatically more accessible to a larger range of financial status-y. I don't know how to say that. Whatever. You know what I mean? If you're poor, you can still go to school. That's what I'm trying to say. We're going to simplify it real quick. And the scholarship program can help them get that extra bit, right? The program will pay for continued education, all those kind of things, as well as some of the industry standard and much appreciated certifications in our field.
And let's do it across the country.
The thing. You feel like you don't have time to mentor. You don't have time to help other people out because your life is crazy and you're taking care of your kids and your dad's got to go to the doctor. I'm talking about myself. Donate. That's easy. Donate. Go ahead. Really? It's going to be great. So next week, we are not here, Meg, right? We're not here, Meg, next week. Did I misspeak? I don't know. Meg, hold on. We got to pull up the thing. We're not here next week, if I'm correct. We're not. We're taking a day off. Oh, I know why. My kids are out of school and I need a flexible schedule. But on the 18th, we're going to have Brad Gorka to talk about GRC. Who doesn't love governance, risk, and compliance? It's going to be, you guys are going to like Brad. He's pretty cool. And then on the 24th, I got invited by our good friend Evan Franson to do his podcast. I'm so excited. Go check it out. I think it's like evanfranson.com or something. I don't know. I'll put a post out later about it. That's like, hey, go here at this time and date. I think Will already marked off his calendar because as soon as Evan had the the description and everything mapped out, I was like, look what I'm gonna do.
Just interrupt just a moment because I know Dominic has a hard stop, right?
Bye, Dom.
There's someone waiting. Coaching client.
I
appreciate you. I appreciate you both. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this show. Thank you both for being friends, and just big hugs. Keep being kind. I appreciate you.
Aw,
Thank you for
Bye,
what
Dom.
you do, dude.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. Because it's a restream platform, right? It's in the browser. Like, people are confused about, how do I end this? Glad he got it. I love Dom. He's so fun. We're still live, by the way, just so you know. I didn't click the button off or anything. No, thank you for that hard stop reminder. You're the best. Thanks, pal.
Well, you're sitting there going, I gotta go.
I do Southern goodbyes. Are you familiar with a Southern goodbye, Will? Do you know what this is?
I don't know.
Okay. Southern goodbye, also known as a country goodbye. It's when you go over to like your friends or your families for an event or something, or dinner, right? And they're like, oh, they like do the stretch and yawn on the couch. And they're like, oh, I guess we gotta pack it in. Gotta go. It's been great. Food was great. This is awesome. Right. And then the host will come and tell you bye then, in like hugs and, whatever else is appropriate in that relationship construct for you. And then they walk you to the door, and then they say goodbye again. Right. And then they wait out on the porch for you to get in your car, and then they say goodbye again. And then as you're pulling away, they're like, wait, just one more thing. And they say goodbye again, right at the end. That's a Southern goodbye.
I do a lot of that.
you have to prep like 30 minutes, 45 minutes early, because when you think you're going to leave is not when you're leaving, because there's going to be chitter chat that happens forever. I'm that person. I do Southern goodbyes. I take forever. I don't like goodbyes. I like hellos. See you laters are pretty good. I think those are my favorite. See you laters are good. So, Will, I'll see you later.
Sounds good. It was fun. And boy, I loved GurkCon. That was a blast.
Wasn't it?
And if anyone didn't see Ryan's hat.
His Cthulhu tinfoil hat. You can say it. I like how you're like, hat.
But the thing that we couldn't share with all of the viewers was the baklava. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Chris Roberts brought by this baklava that was a spiritual experience. I mean,
that's the rumor I heard. He made it, right?
Yeah, he and somebody else. And I forget who that was, but man, it was good. Wow.
Very good. Oh, and you got to take home some mead, some Josh.
Yes.
Josh, the husband,
made you for that. So everyone, I got some coffee mead, right?
Very on brand. Very on brand.
Yeah, delicious. But oh my goodness, does it have a punch?
It does. I think everybody needs a morning mead. Just something brisk to start your day out with. I'm not saying that if you don't be an alcoholic. But it's coffee flavored. It is very on brand. And I was glad that we were able to bring that. And Josh was the only reason that anybody got any, to tell you the truth, because I forgot to even ask him. And he was like, "You're taking mead, aren't you?" And I was like, "I am. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Taking mead." It was a lot of fun. It was a lot. It's good. We're going to have to get back together sooner than GurkCon.
Yeah, my wife was like, "Can we pay them for some?"
I don't know. Probably not, because we're your friends and we'll just send it to you.
She was like, the other stuff that you had. Oh, whatever your favorite was.
Oh, the lemon ginger. That one's my favorite. Husband makes a lot of the lemon ginger because I absolutely love it. It's the nectar of the gods, guys. It's good.
So anyhow, we're keeping people, but we had a great time. It was fantastic. Great to meet and hear about the focal leadership and
It was very
coaching
cool.
element. So you can check that out.
I like it. I'm just curious. Do I know enough? I do though. I know some pretty fantastic like CIOs and CTOs that would walk into a situation and be like, this needs to be untangled and I need help untangling it. Like I know a lot of situations that I've walked in before where I could see how Dominic coming in would just make everything so much nicer. Because when it's that bad, it can't be just the person walking in the door that notices it's that bad. Like everybody else has to also be secretly whispering about how bad it is. And I'll bet you by the time they get somebody like Dominic in there, they're like, hallelujah, joy, you know? Finally, somebody's going to pay attention and help us become actually a team without some kind of lame team building exercise. Right, where we have to fall back into each other's arms or whatever the hell, or some rope obstacle course. Like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, not the temporary solutions.
No. Well, everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you in 2 weeks on the 18th. Be sure to keep your eyeball out for that. Follow the Secure Nation LinkedIn. You'll get alerted when that happens. Or you can also go to the YouTube channel, right, and hit on the Human API. Hit subscribe. I am not annoying about it. I post once a week-ish, not next week, obviously, but once a week-ish, and you'll be notified. And then you can just follow stuff. And that's easy. I like to make things easy for you, for however you want to ingest your content. But yeah, y'all have a great weekend. I know I got a busy one up ahead. And Will, thanks, friend. This is the part where we wave and we tell everybody bye.
Cheerio, folks.
That was a good Southern goodbye, right?